so we might as well get started here. I think it's 6 o'clock. So we're late, yeah, we'll wait a couple minutes, because I think you said Lindsay's coming, right?
Yeah, she emailed that, I guess, 5 o'clock yesterday. She was gonna be here.
So, what you should feel free to chaperone it while we wait.
Moretown's closed to all traffic.
Yeah, I just heard that. I was looking at it.
No, what
I just
is?
missed that.
So she comes from Burlington, I think, so.
I think it's, isn't it northbound though?
At exit 10, Waterbury. Detour using exit 10 to US 2 westbound. Yeah, you're right, probably. All traffic is confusing.
Maybe this is.
Well, I'll go ahead, we'll call the meeting to order. It's the Moretown Selectboard. It's Monday, June 2nd. Happy June to y'all. We're here at the John Hill Blue Meeting Room. Salute to John. And we do start with the public comments. So is there anything here for public comments? Nothing out there, nothing online. Neil, you're just here supporting Chris, it sounded like. All right, so why don't, we're waiting for Lindsay with the Warfest stuff. Sasha, will you start any reports or anything like that that we may have?
I just have 2 warrants over there and a letter to be approved for letter of support for the sidewalk grant.
All right. Don, been gone for a while. What do you got for us?
Oh, we're just gonna jump into stuff like that?
Yeah, I think, because we should wait for Lindsay because she's kind of key to this Morefest.
Yeah, okay.
And,
We're also probably waiting for someone from the trustees too, yeah. Okay.
She's assuming 6:20.
Just too efficient tonight.
So, well, one, just a little update. I have the so-called facilities committee, you know, the name could change, as well as the people in it. And no, so we're gonna have our first meeting on Tuesday, 6/10, 8 in the morning. And I've only have 2 others attending at this time, 3 people. You know, it should either be 3, 5, or 7. But we thought we'd just, the 2 other people that are going to be joining me is Jim O'Neill and Brian Kitchen, who was the runner-up to Mr. Brown here.
yes.
For the select board.
Real winner, don't you?
Yeah. You won.
Maybe he and I could trade places.
So anyways, we thought we'd start just with the 3 of us to sort of get it organized and in categories for the different buildings and how we're going to set it up and get the spreadsheet figured out and stuff like that. So that's a little update about that. At the next meeting, if we have time, I wonder, are we doing the bridge the next meeting?
That's in July.
Was it July? Okay. So if time allows it, next meeting, I think that I will be, and with the town hall committee, we could make a little, give everybody an update of where we are with the town hall and the final design and pricing and
How much time do you
all
need?
that.
15 minutes?
Well, we could maybe look at a drawing or 2. Yeah, 10, 15. Yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
15.
Yeah,
15?
there we go, 15, yeah. Sidewalks, I guess we're gonna work on this one right here. That was gonna.
Yeah.
Is there any? How do we move the one over at Gallagher Acres along? Is that just we're just waiting to see if we ever get a grant or anything, or when something comes around that we can
Yeah,
kick
so
that in?
Yep.
Okay. And I know while I was away there was discussion about a loader and a roadside mower. I just made a note. Does anything come of that?
No, and there was also discussion of a hydro seeder as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I can touch on that. So Martin actually had pricing on the hydro seeder, and the guys from Waitsfield thought it was around, theirs were around $50 it's actually around 30,000.
Oof.
So-
Throw a lot of seed by hand that would.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we were gonna shift, I thought we might be able to shift some gravel stuff, some other things, we're not gonna do that.
Okay. And we're still, the loader is still a work in progress?
Yeah, he's.
I didn't read anything about it in the last
Yeah,
note.
nothing's really hard, just,
Yeah,
you know, looking at a few different things, we're looking at it to see if there's anything that needs to be really done right now that can be done with it, or should we move forward and try to lease something?
and then I didn't know if we've had any, I mean, again, from looking at the meetings notes last, in May, how are we doing, any breakthroughs with the FEMA funding or any updates or anything? I think
I just got an update
today for today's meeting, so you were probably gonna bring that up anyways.
Yep, so I'll, yeah, as long as we're still going around, I will bring, so finally some good news today. We got fully obligated, I just want, it's just an email I'm running to here. Yeah, so today from a person, a couple people we've been working with at FEMA, they verified that we got fully obligated for $1,764,584.28. We can drop to 75% of that, which is $1,324,188.24. And we will be doing that within the next week. And then some of that project money is, or a lot of it is the stuff that's going on near you. And so once we finish that, then we'll get
The next phase.
yeah, we'll get the other 25% of that 1.7, which is about 400,000 there. And then at that point, once that is finished obligated, then we can submit to the state to get
Their reimbursement.
their reimbursement, which I think is 0.9%. So, if we...
So where will that leave us after that? We'll still have,
Yeah,
still
still
have
have
quite a
I don't know if I
bit.
have all my spreadsheets here.
We haven't even Lover's Lane, it's still like a work in progress.
Yeah, that's all,
down
that's
the
not
road.
even...
Oh, yeah, not even in the picture.
This is just the stuff from 23.
23, right, that's what you said from
Yeah.
a 2 months ago,
Yeah,
so we're still
23, so
working on
this is just
that.
all the 23, which we had talked about at,
Yeah,
the town meeting, and it's actually still at 1.76, so,
yeah,
and which we were hoping to get in the end of March or April or something, but now we're fully obligated.
but we've had no update for 2024.
That stuff has,
I mean, I know you've been,
Yeah.
Ray and you and
yeah, no, I'm sure
working hard to get all that in.
yeah, the term they're using, but it has been, it's not obligated, but it's like pre-obligated, maybe certified or something, and it is a project. So,
That's
and
good.
it's the mitigation stuff, so I think that's going simultaneously, and I think. we should
Fingers
go-
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
We also talked to the bank, and then I think last Friday, I guess, I think it was then, we spoke with the bank, and they are willing to push out the loan. They're looking, because again, we were uncertain about getting this money, whether we're going to be able to meet that obligation at the end of June. So we looked at maybe possibly pushing this $3 million loan out a little bit, but I don't think we're going to have to now that I've
Yeah,
this now we've got this
we got
today.
that, yeah.
But we also looked into seeing if, rather than doing that loan, whether we could get just that note until our taxes come due. What was the term of that?
Tax anticipation.
Tax
Yeah.
anticipation note. So, and they were very willing to do that as well. So we're keeping
Okay,
up to
wow.
date on that and working.
Well, thank you for all that. Thank you.
The other thing
Town
is,
thanks you.
yeah, well, everyone's doing it. And the audit came back, clean and good, 100%, yeah, so,
That's good.
I haven't got any hard copies on that, I just,
Yeah.
the auditors let me know that, so you guys are safe, Sasha, right? We didn't take anything anyways. So, hi Lindsay, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Good, thank you for coming. We've been waiting and anticipating you to come, so we kind of jumped into some other stuff. But now that you're here, if you guys want to kind of move forward and discuss Morefest, what?
Hey, this is back there.
Does everyone know Mike? I know Mike is new on the board. Lindsay?
Hi, I'm Michael.
I think so, Lindsay Staples.
Nice to meet you, Lindsay.
Lindsay, and I think everyone
Yeah,
else has
no,
Chris. Well, thanks, Lindsay. And I know, again, you and Stefan really, and Michelle really took care of Morefest the last couple of years, but certainly last year. So there was we weren't sure, I wasn't sure, we reached out. And anyways, wanted to make sure this happens, want you to do what you want to do with it and take whatever reins that you want with this, but I've asked Chris in the rec committee to kind of support you or somehow run, I don't know what we want to do.
Or how we can help you.
Yeah, so I think, I talked to Michelle and Stefan. Michelle is taking a step back. Stefan and I had agreed to do what we do, but then, we heard that you had spoken to Chris and stuff like that. So, I think what we should do at this point is dissolve the Morefest committee, have the rec committee take it on. Because I think if you have too many committees doing the same thing, no singular mouthpiece of communication, right? We get into these issues where somebody's doing one thing, another person's already doing it, right? There's that, functional input. Everyone's time is valuable. So we don't want duplicitous efforts going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there really needs to be one spearheaded committee. The rec committee already has members, and, we can easily transfer the project plan, things like that. We have everything in a Gmail. So I've given that to Chris. I think that with the PTO, who has lots of volunteers, as stated, could really, take Morefest on and not have so many committees doing
No, and I
similar
agree.
things.
I just want to make sure that you guys are good with that it's not something that we're trying to snatch away from you or not have you do. I just want to make sure that something happens, or because a lot of people have expressed, hey, what's going on with Morefest? Can we, is it going on? And so again, if you think that's the best idea,
Yeah, I do. I mean, certainly, Stefan and I have both said that we would do what needed to be done. We're looking for a budget, things like that. So I think if, it's probably now is probably the right time to transfer it.
I heard about this a couple weeks ago. We brought it up at the rec meeting, was that last Monday, I believe. I think logically it made sense for a subcommittee in the rec committee to run Morefest. I don't think anybody on the rec committee is looking to take on work by September. So I think the structure of the rec committee is a logical place to help with, with monthly meetings and communications and documents or whatever else needs to come out of that. And I can help with some problem solving type roles, but I don't think anyone on the committee really leaned forward and said, great, let's run it. So Louisa was there representing the PTO, and I think she, there's 3 of, I don't know how many chunks of work there were in that spreadsheet, maybe 8. 3 of them she kind of saw as the PTO running, or the school running. So I think that just maybe opens up the question, if we move the structure to the rec committee, would you come with it and run the subcommittee?
Yeah, I think we would, in order to do that, I'd really want the communication to be there. Whether it's the rec committee making decisions, needing the select board to, sign things or provide a budget and things like that. I'd want the communication to be improved, a plan for the improved communication.
At this point, we have 2 resources on Morefest right now, Lindsay and Stefan. So moving into the rec committee still kind of puts two resources on Morefest, so I think there's still problems to solve for. The sheet that you sent over yesterday was awesome. I mean, that's how I think in my head. Color-coded list of stuff to get done. And I didn't go through, I was thinking a next step would be to see where ownership really exists and doesn't exist. But I kind of get the sense that we need more resources. So like shouting out to our community through FPF is a logical way, trying to get people to come in and help make Morefest happen. I'd be shy to leave here thinking we should announce Morefest is happening until we kind of go through that process of making sure everything's owned. Probably my biggest fear is that it's moved to the rec committee and then it all went wrong. Like if we were talking about next fall,
Right.
you know, that feels a lot more reasonable. I'm pretty heads down this time of year and overcommitted, quite frankly. So, you know, a Hail Mary doesn't feel good in the next 90 days. So I'd want to make sure we have like a team of us trying to make it happen or deciding not to do it. So we would also, I think, a little buffer to a go, no go communication.
Yeah, it's basically 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that has to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think, I can't remember how it came up to move it to the rec committee, but I don't think the intention was to like shift the planning onto you, like we talked about briefly. It was just to like, I guess kind of put it in somebody's wheelhouse, like since that $8,000 got left out of the budget, just like as an oversight, you know, and then, so yeah, so I guess you could then say, yeah, we're shifting the responsibility to the rec committee, but like if like Lindsay and Stefan were like, or whoever else was like in the subcommittee and it was just, they were still doing it, but it was like, say, part of the rec committee budget.
If that helps, I think that would.
Right, I think that was like the main intention, not to like shift responsibility of Morefest onto the rec committee, just so it's like, okay, this is like a line item in their budget and it's like,
So query why that wouldn't have worked for the Morefest committee, which would have had the same budget implications.
yeah, I don't know,
If you're already ear tagging rec committee dollars, why wouldn't the Morefest committee dollars have been ear tagged?
well, but then I guess, so I didn't suggest moving to the rec committee, I can't remember how that came up, but then like whoever's on the Morefest committee, like, I don't think there's like a budget line item in the budget for it, right? Or nothing was presented for the town report, so it's just left
I think that's where the
off.
communication issue, like,
That, I think,
nobody knew that there
Right,
had
you
to
didn't have-
be.
you're not
Oh, right, so that's, I think we're just trying to figure out some ways, so it's
Organized
like,
committee, so you
Right.
didn't know to like do that.
Well, we are an organized.
Well, you know, but we,
And, you know, we have, like, we did the child charter and bylaws last
Yeah,
year. It
that's
was
right.
approved. We spent a lot of time on that, but there was no communication reach out to us to say,
Yeah.
this is what you need to do.
Mhm.
And so I think that was, you know, a fall down, right?
So-
You know,
so-
my everyday, I'm not thinking about
Right.
a committee, you know, a town event in,
Plain and simply a human error.
yeah, that's maybe, it's just
all
oversight,
good.
yeah, but then I think we're just trying to figure out, and you and Chris can, like, you guys tell us what makes the most sense, like, so some, right, because Chris
I had
doesn't
the
want to
luxury
take.
of having taken on a zero budget.
Right, you know, so
Deal
it's
with
like,
that like 3 or 4 years ago. So I think, really, I think it begs the question though, like whether it's in a rec budget or a Morefest budget, a budget is needed for Morefest in September. Do we have the money? Can
Yeah.
we assume the same budget?
Yes.
And when
Yeah.
I say can we, I guess I'm saying can this group trying to move it forward assume, and I should look you in the eyes because we only had one conversation, but this $8,000 plus cost of living, I mean, it's probably gonna cost a little bit more to do everything. So how do we like sort of make sure we have the budget to pull it off?
We can make that happen tonight. But just, I just want to get back to that. We, in the fall, we actually talked about the Morefest budget. And it was only a couple of weeks ago when I realized that it was not in the overall budget. And I went to Sasha, and what happened to it? You know, where did it go? Because we sat around this table and approved it. And it was called Town Events, is what it was. And so I still haven't really found out where it went to because I have these line items that will stay on there for years that I can't get it done. you know, honest. You know, I just can't keep going.
Yeah.
And this year, this is gone, and I don't know what happened. So my apologies for, I guess, not, after our book came out, to go through and to verify that everything was in there. Because I think that may have slowed down this whole process, because maybe you guys didn't see
I think it was there.
a budget
Yeah.
that was there.
Yeah.
And the whole time, I'm kind of waiting in January, February, well, they're getting together, we'll hear something, they know there's a budget. And I think it was Mike, actually, that one of our last meetings that I was here, maybe not the last one, the meeting before, you said you'd been talking to Stefan, you said something about the money. That's when I was like, what do you mean, it's in there? Remember, we looked through it.
Right.
We looked through it, because I was like, totally surprised, what the hell happened?
I thought we at least, we had a line item actually for fireworks.
You know, it was town events, and it
Yeah,
was,
on the fireworks, is in that?
I mean, God's my witness, I had it in there, we had it in there, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
So I will take responsibility for that, for not re-looking or whatever.
Must be that new track.
But there is money, there's money, what I would like you guys to do is get together. Let's say, like you said, the 8,000 plus, you know, give or take a little bit, depends on what you need to do out there. But there's money to do it, and Lindsay, you've done a great job for us, and Stefan has, and Michelle has as well. And I hope to continue that. And moving or talking to Chris in the rec committee was no way to slight anyone or do anything. It's just, hey, if they need some help, because I had gotten a text that you were willing to help, Stefan was willing to help, but willing to help, I know it takes a ton of people, more than 2 people. So that was a reach out to, hey, what can we do? It wasn't pull anything away or not, you know, really was not, or give responsibilities to other people. You know, we're not trying to do that. I would just like to see this happen, and people enjoy it. It's something that shines pretty well in town, and I hope we can all figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I think ultimately it does come down to, right, we have 2 people if we keep the Morefest committee, and then you have a lack of volunteers as well. So I think we do need to get more people interested in, you know, bringing this event to, you know, to be.
What happens if you like
How would you
post
get
it?
more people?
You know, I have no idea. We've been sitting here for, you know, 6 years, 7 years, having the same conversation. There's been 5 of us around the table since, you know, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, when you were doing
Leanne, yeah.
and she would put out, you know, she was
Begging.
good about it, you know, and it would be before you would show up.
Yeah.
And so I think with the PTO being involved, there's some younger energy there, and maybe that can help. And they, you know, they make, you know, a good amount of money for their organization. So I would think that they would be willing to step up a little bit.
What happens if you put a post, you know, like Morefest is in jeopardy of not happening, we need volunteers.
We've done
Please
one
come
of
to
those.
it. Please- Well,
Guilt
but
zone.
say, you know, it's 3 months away and it's very close to not happening, please come to a meeting next Wednesday or whatever, you know?
Yeah, at
I
this
don't know,
point,
just at
what we
least-
need are fewer thought-provoking folks at the table coming to a meeting
more
and more
doers.
doers.
Right.
And so when we put that post out in the past, we get a lot of great ideas, but we don't get a lot of folks that want to execute on those great ideas.
Right.
And then that just ends up being more stuff for us.
Where are you advertising? Where were you advertising, like?
Front Porch Forum, generally, Facebook, we have a Facebook page, but, you know.
So at this point, it might be good for a small core of you to organize it, and then get these are the people I need to help. I need 5 volunteers for traffic and parking and 3 to do this. But generally, I mean, probably you and Stefan and Chris and someone from the
You need more
PTO
organizers.
could sit down and that out.
I think we need fewer organizers. We need more doers.
So you basically, you and Stefan would organize and just, you need people just to carry out
Yeah, we need, traffic people, we need people that can help put up signs and tents and help people bring tables, and we need doers,
The setup,
executors.
the setup and the cleanup, I've heard, like,
Yeah.
even if you can get people to help during the event, yeah. I got stuck cleaning up one night and the next morning. Maybe if we're more proactive,
Yeah.
you've tried it a lot, I guess, like, try it again. But maybe we could also target groups in town. We certainly have groups like the library and the historical society, the rec committee, and riders that come and participate in the event. Maybe we could ask additional groups to kind of help be part of the event.
Is it like really crazy to try and like get like the kids to help, like as part of a school thing?
Maybe not the parking.
Isn't it on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Is it on a Saturday or Friday night?
Technically.
Yeah, not the parking, but I mean like
I've
set
got a
up.
15-year-old that would love parking.
I mean, that's not, I'm not talking to have them do like crazy stuff, but just like some of the like, ephemeral,
Yeah.
like some of the 5th and 6th graders or whatever. I don't know, maybe it is crazy.
Yeah, no, I think in years past, they really have stepped up and done a lot of their own stuff, but I would say in the last 3 years, they kind of come, they, help the teachers hand out their pork sandwiches, and then they're off.
Yeah.
And so I
Right.
think, maybe that's something we can address with the PTO. And where you're saying there's a lot of organization tents that have the opportunity to make themselves more known in the community and even do a little fundraising, maybe we just request that they give one body. And, I think help a little bit.
Yeah, you just said not people getting more creative ideas, and I'm just, here I am coming up with creative ideas.
You're welcome to do it. You just have to execute it.
People to help.
Yeah, so I mean, helping the two of you round out some of these efforts is something I was willing to do,
Yeah.
right? And even Harwood has an honor society, and they need to do stuff to get their credits, or I'm not tied into the Boy Scouts, GMBS did trail work for us. I mean, maybe there's other groups that
We
need to
have, so the
fill.
Gmail that I gave you has
Is it all
of
in
those
there?
emails already sent.
Yeah.
We've just, it's, folks have a hard time committing to things over the summer, and then,
Yeah,
and then they get back and they're,
yeah.
kiddos aren't volunteering like they used to.
Once we get them hooked up, we'll let them go.
We've tried athletic teams that also have community service requirements at the high
Yeah.
school. We certainly asked the both scouts, boy and girl, and they have a table, but again, we're not seeing, kind of the
We
bodies.
have to talk to people now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So we can try. I mean, it comes to one point, if there aren't enough resources, and we're not talking about a lot of people.
No.
And if we can't get this reasonably small amount of people to help create Morefest, like, we're not Live Nation, maybe Morefest shouldn't happen. So I'm not sure how to bring up the concept of shame, but like there is that idea of like, as a community, it's up to us to make this happen if we want it to happen.
I like that word track right there.
Yeah,
As a community, if we want this to happen, it's up to us to make it happen.
yeah.
Um,
And it is, yeah, I
Threaten people.
don't know the numbers, but it feels like 60-40, 60% Moretowners at the event. Maybe it's higher, maybe you have numbers. I don't know.
Yeah, boy,
So-
wouldn't it be great if we had somebody that could do
No, the-
numbers?
The 6th grade traffic collector.
Yeah.
Great. Can I just do it on the
Well, is that a
wall?
post maybe the select board could use those terms and have the Moretown Select Board post something like that? Using the quote that you just
we could-
picked up from Chris,
And then tighten the ask of, we don't need people to come brainstorm, but these are maybe not the specific tasks, but we need an ownership for this grouping of
So-
ideas.
so
We need someone to
the
take over
people-
parking for us, probably 2 or 3
The
people.
people that you need don't need to do anything until close to Morefest, right?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have requests for hay, which the community is actually pretty good about, and maybe we don't even need to do that anymore for seating, but
Okay, I mean, it's just for the day or two that you need.
majority.
If Neil weren't here, I'd also say that even though we raised their hand in the rec committee to help, I bet we can shame them into helping with little bits and pieces as well. But like, like you went out, with something small.
Sometimes I'm not even around, that's the problem.
That is the problem, right?
But basically, my thought is that we have people here that, how many people are we talking about? 15 people?
15, 20 people.
Yeah, I think we could gather that. I mean, through the high school, the church, and this and that. And other
Networking.
groups,
Yeah, it's talking to all our neighbors.
and everybody wants to have it, and make it, you just need help for 2 days. Right?
It is pretty much Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have to volunteer for those things, but we start a volunteer list.
Yeah.
We don't
Maybe
need
even
the
put up a
public
poster in
meetings. They
put up
just
a
need to
poster or
come.
something in the library that, you know, just to get some eyes on it.
Yeah.
So if you want to move forward, Lindsay, organize with Stefan, with Chris, think of yourself as having a budget around in the 8,000 range. And as far as decision-making, unless it's something way out of left field, you make the decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
operate, how we have.
Right. You know, and work with Chris. And, you know, as far as what we call yourself or what you do, I mean, I'm not, that's semantics. I don't really care. You know, you this committee, that committee. But if everyone just works together, do what you want with it, communicate, and if you need more from us or less from us, let me know, let us know.
Absolutely.
I'd say minus any, like, I don't know if any changes need to happen with the bylaws and the way it's set up right now, but in terms of if it's gonna sort of operate with the help of the rec committee, I would just keep it called the Northwest Committee, subcommittee.
Yeah, I think we'll just-
The details, but like, it's its own thing, like, 5 years from now, 5 years of the rec committee being part of Morefest, it's still gonna be a subcommittee making Morefest happen.
Right.
It's not like, there's enough work to keep people busy just with the 9 months, 12 months of the year.
Yeah. All right, so we'll call it that. Is everyone good with that?
Great.
All right.
Was there anything else on, I guess? The budget and then the date was the other, which I think we have kind of zoomed in on, but the concern about sharing it right here, right now, I guess, is that it gets pretty dry. And I don't know if we're committed to a date yet.
Yeah, I think the 13th is.
Okay. So
September
we're
13th.
targeting September 13th.
All right, good.
In North Star is available.
So that's 2 weeks after Labor Day, because Labor Day is actually right there.
Yeah.
All right.
So I would like to just get my 2 cents in, but I think at some point we, as a community, we can decide this, is look to an alternative to fireworks. You know, I'm sure everybody's maybe read some about it, you know, it's ecologically, it's
That's
not
one of those
great.
great ideas that you
I
guys.
know. Well,
Why don't you look into it?
People, you know, wildlife, dogs,
Yeah,
veterans,
absolutely.
trash, noise, whatever. I think it's something that people should think about. And there are alternatives, there are light shows, you know, and,
Absolutely.
you know, anyways, I think it should
And the
be on,
insurance that you guys would have to buy with those drones?
well, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think, didn't
But
someone
just-
look into it last year?
National Life did them, so I have a pretty good idea of the insurance.
They're very, very expensive, aren't they?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very expensive.
Don't they do something though at on ground levels, with lights on the ground shooting up?
Oh,
Like, you know.
that's, yeah,
I
at
don't
like
know.
a concert.
I'm not saying we're gonna, you know, no, it's just,
A little bit of a difference.
Wah, wah, wah.
They call that a light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a
That
background.
kids have them in their
You need a
room.
background.
it's something to think about, that's, you know.
I wonder what the vote is in the community. If we put it on the ballot, should we do fireworks at
To
Morefest?
get people to town meeting.
Because it should be based on a majority opinion.
Right.
It's funny, as we sat in the rec committee, like, it felt like most of us weren't that into fireworks, but none of us were passionately, like, against it, and people love fireworks. It's like this really difficult
Yeah.
problem to solve, so.
Yeah, people love it. I mean, that's,
Or
It's a-
hate it. Or hate it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's the other side to it.
yeah, there are,
There's another side to it.
animals and things like that that are
Yeah.
affected, so I understand that as well, so.
But, you know, to that, and I know we gotta keep moving, you know, in our town meeting and working on changing town meeting and getting more attendance, that would be a good one to have is, you know, just a vote, and
Yeah.
that would get some more people to the meeting for sure. You know, have,
That's
you know,
what we've been
because we
looking,
talked
been looking
about
for
that, have a-
controversy. We
Have
haven't
a
for 2 years.
controversy at the, you know, for
But
a town
only if you
meeting.
have a solution, right?
Right.
Only raise the problem if you have a
Those
solution.
lanterns.
Well, there could be none,
We
you
love
know?
these, big complaints without solutions.
A lantern, I guess.
Lanterns are worse than fireworks, aren't they?
The lantern.
Yeah.
Right next to the
And we just send them out to burn other people's places.
Right next to,
house.
Yeah.
right next to the town forest,
It
right?
could, you know, it could just be some dancing and then it's over, you know? Whatever. And there's nothing.
In late fall, we'll just send them.
Anyways,
I don't know. Can we take a vote here just for that, see who would like fireworks and who would like something alternative? Just to see how people feel.
All right. Who would prefer fireworks?
Who would not?
Who would prefer fireworks? So,
It's like, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
really, I
what's
really have no
the
opinion on
alternative?
it.
Yeah. So what is
I
it?
didn't vote yay because I could go either way.
Yeah,
If it didn't
yeah.
happen, I'd
it could be
survive.
something to
So-
research, you know?
I didn't necessarily vote no, I was more like abstaining because.
Anybody
Anyways.
passionately against it would be the other question.
Yeah. Is there anyone? All right.
Okay. let's
Too
close
nice a
this
night.
meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Lindsay, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing what you do. Really. Thank you.
Lose all the kids.
Thank you for helping out with that, Neil. Thank you for helping.
Yes, Neil,
with that.
thank you for coming and your comments. Now, let's move forward. We have the library trustees, the second half of this date night. Corey, come on up. And
Isn't it with that son?
well, Denise, yeah, that's fun, Denise. Oh, there you go, Neil.
Sasha, how do those go down?
Just pull them.
Yeah.
I know it is warm in here. I've been cold all day and it's not cold. Stifling in here, by the way.
Open the windows.
Can we open a window?
Yeah, I was thinking that when I came in myself.
I thought everybody else was
No.
I didn't know if it's hot here.
No, it's always on here.
I would agree with that every time. Good passive
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, comfortable in here.
Good
Little fresh air.
Yeah, and you're keeping everybody going. Yeah, no, it's.
My house is freezing all the time.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't want anyone passing out here.
Sure. We'll fall asleep.
So
Oh.
we're here to kind of follow up on the heater replacement at the old library. I guess I'm unsure where the select board, if they've had any discussion about it up until now. I saw that it was on tonight's agenda kind of before. Maybe we approached you guys.
Yeah, so we hadn't, the whole board hadn't been here when
That's what I kind of,
you first approached, and last time Don wasn't here, so we said, well, let's try to get everyone together. So I'm glad that you guys were able to come. We were gonna have you come. So I guess, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so this is, just before I don't feel like I'm hijacking this, this is the email that has like the budget items, what we spent, what's still available. So this kind of, email that I've shared with all of us, so this kind of outlines financially where, the library budget, the actual library budget funds the old library. The history center is now housed in the old library. so
In
they're-
both floors, they have them upstairs.
Yes, yes, thank you, yeah. So now they're in both floors, and I got to go in and get a good look around for the first time the other day. It's pretty awesome. So if you haven't been in, you should definitely go check it out. But the library trustees, and therefore the library budget, being the budget that maintains the building, we'll just say makes things slightly murky. You guys already understand that, I'm sure, because the town budget controls everything, so everything's a little murky. The heater needs to be replaced in the building. The propane tank was already replaced, and now it's just kind of a swap out. As of the last meeting we attended, there was an estimate for a new heater, a Renine heater, so fairly basic. An estimate from Brian LaFawn for $2,900. A quick Google search, that seems kind of like the going price. There was a little bit of discussion last time about maybe we should get another estimate. It sounds like it's not required by the town because of the amount. I don't know if I have that right though, so correct me if I'm wrong. But in terms of the actual cost, this is where kind of the crux of the issue is. The building maintenance budget line for 2025 is $1,500 for the library. As of April, we still had $1,300 available. However, by the end of last year, we had spent 3/4 of that budget on building maintenance. And we had some things we wanted to address this year. Nothing as, I guess, pertinent as a heater for the building, but just kind of kicking the can down the road for like washing the exterior of the building. It sounds like there's a light replacement that needs to potentially, there's a few little things. So we're not able to, if we give that $1,300 remaining over, nothing else.
Good stuff, yeah.
Potentially could happen. Heating fuel is the other area that we looked at to potentially grab some funds, and or realizing that there's really not a lot of money there, and potentially because the heater wasn't running efficiently, it's kind of unknown, or people are now in the building more than maybe when the library was in there.
When we were there, I would turn it down to low when I left, because I would be there for 4 hours at a time, so it would warm up by the time people were leaving.
Yeah, so whether it's habits, whether it's the actual, the computer wasn't working well, that budget line item really doesn't have much money remaining in it, because we had thought about using some of the heating fuel money, go towards the heater, but if we do that, we won't have any money left to heat come fall. It also was a particularly cold winter, so a building like that, when you're trying to heat up the entire contents and the space, is going to take a lot of resources. So, what we're saying is we don't have money for a heater. So we have kind of a little bit in building maintenance. So we're coming, to the town to kind of see potentially if you had any thoughts on it, if there was any potential funds, like partial funds that the town could allocate towards this. And then in kind of big picture terms, when it comes to like yearly budgets, I think especially since now the History Center is like they're there, they have a presence. We talked to Denise and Mary about this, like them more formally coming to the town, and potentially there will be a History Center budget amount allocated. Yeah. Does that sound like?
Just right now, technically, the trustees own that building, but what does that even really mean?
Right.
Because, the deed says that, but we're a municipal library, and so at the end of the day, our budget comes from the town.
Yeah, see, that's my whole
budget.
question is how,
Yeah,
where,
who owns the building?
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's-
bigger picture,
I
it's
guess
like, it doesn't, I don't think it makes sense to
Yeah.
sort of have it continue on this way.
Yeah, so we, the trustees, have been talking about, like, what does it mean that we own that building? Do we need to own that building? What would it look we don't wanna just stick a sign out and try to sell it. There's no, like, you can't, we wouldn't get anything for it.
Right, the
Everyone's
value's
seen
not
that.
there because
The value's not
there's no septic or
It'd
water.
be a neighboring property that might
Exactly.
purchase it, but
Exactly.
it can't be used as a home.
No, but as a municipal building that is housing now, history center, you know, another element of community, what is the greater town think about?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think
having-
we have to approach the future, how we wanna
Yeah.
carry on to the future, because there's more than just a heater there, there's the roof
Yes.
at some point needs to be taken care of, and
Yeah,
you
there's
know.
gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of things moving
There's-
forward.
there's
It's an old
things.
building, and I would say that the trustees' feeling is that we don't wanna be landlords. It feels kind of weird, and it seems like the history center should be able to make the decisions that they
need to
want
make.
to, and, you know, we kind of have that, like, agreement now, like, if something happens, they go right to the town, but then it's like our budget, so we have our hand in the pot, it just kind of feels weird, I guess. So, the
Yes.
immediate issue is the cost of the heater, obviously, because things take time. We don't wanna get to, October and be like, oh, you know, we've got a heater in there. But then I think the ongoing conversation is like, what would it look like for library trustees to not own that building?
Yeah.
Well, that's something that we need to all brainstorm about and talk about, but sure, you know.
Yeah.
Because I can say that the History Center, which is a name that I've been hearing, and I've been going to some of the Historical Society meetings. It's quite nice and it's great in there, and there's
Yeah.
soon gonna be some hours, you know, like it'll be on Front Porch Forum, when there'll be some open hours for people to come and visit and see it, and there's quite, Denise and Mary and some of the other folks have done an amazing job there.
Yeah, it's a really
Well,
great.
it's a great resource,
collection.
yeah,
It's
it's a,
like curated it really nicely,
Yeah.
too. It's real like key sections, it's not.
it's a
you
great,
go in and find,
yeah,
you know,
it's a good
it kinda walks
resource
you
that-
through well. Yeah,
you know, as a town, it's a resource that we should try to see how we can carry it on and, you know, go into whatever the future is for the building as part of the town. The History Center is part of the town.
yeah, I mean, the
Or
building's
Historical
already
Society,
there.
yeah.
That- Whether it's, you know, everything's aging, that one is potentially aging a little faster
Yeah,
than
including
others,
me.
but it's not like we're looking for a new space. And also, I mean, the town already owns it, like, yes, the library trustees own it, but like, what does that really mean, like,
I
the
don't know
town
what
holds
that
the
means.
you know, like, we don't have
So,
insurance policy, so it seems like it's kind of already part of the town's municipal,
Is it under the town's insurance and stuff, probably?
is it? Yeah, it is, I think it is, yeah.
yeah.
As a town building,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have $14,718 or $81 in our maintenance reserve fund. So we could dip into that for the 2,900 or roughly.
I
That-
think the last meeting you were gonna ask Sherilyn to reach out to Gillespie for a second quote. Did that
Yeah, I
progress?
think Callie brought that up, because that's who fills the tank now, right? So
Yeah, they have a good
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of secondary. We need to figure out first if we want to get the money, but definitely to your point, we definitely want to get a couple of
Get
bids
a
on it,
second.
2 or 3 bids. But what does the board feel about using this maintenance reserve money to do that?
I think that's the
Yeah.
first good step, yeah.
Yeah.
Think that'd be fun?
All right, so
Are we gonna cover the whole amount or partial amount?
I think the whole amount, they don't have anything, because, I mean, with their, I want to see them continue to do their maintenance. One thing I would, Don, maybe you should talk to them, or Don to you, or whatever, because Don's doing some maintenance
No,
with the
that's-
buildings, with the, like spray washing and things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, yeah, we've got we have a facilities committee that we're just speaking about other committees, but we've just started.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah, I know that's it's in the headlight, that's another building that we need to
Yeah.
harass.
To the checklist.
Yeah,
And that has been done in the past, right? I do recall, maybe when I first started, there was a group that involved the select board that did sort of a maintenance inventory of all the buildings. I'm recalling that, so that that documentation that exists somewhere.
Well, I was gonna follow up with Charlotte
Better-
because someone was mentioning to me, Dan LaRocca was involved with something like
Don.
that way back
Don.
when.
Yeah, Don.
Don or Dan, I don't know. I was in one of those meetings.
Yeah.
So I was, or maybe her, Cheryl Brown might know about that there was something back then.
Yeah.
Well, there should be a list of assets anyway, because you need a list of assets for your audit.
Yeah, well, it's pretty
All
straightforward.
your assets.
Right, I suppose.
No, you do. They
Well-
ask for it.
Yeah.
A printed report, everything, including culvert sand, everything, so.
Oh, well, I was
We
doing,
should have that
right.
to include buildings.
Yeah, we should have buildings, right.
Good, so,
So Denise, what do you think? I
We
mean,
talked about the 5 buildings that would be under the facilities committee.
yeah,
That would be the library, the old library, town hall, fire station, town garage, and here.
yeah.
And the new library and the town hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
The history center, yeah, all the 5 buildings that we have, they all need some love, so to speak.
so Don, do you want to just coordinate and just talk so that way, as far as how to bid this out or what to look for? Don,
Yeah,
can you help
sure.
with that?
Yeah.
And is this specifically heater or more towards the other building maintenance we were talking
Well, let's get
The
the
heater first,
Okay.
yeah.
about? Yeah.
And then,
And then you can
then
look
we
at the
can
other
start
stuff.
it between
Yeah.
you and Denise and Mary, and some of the folks that are gonna be on this committee, start to develop a list of stuff that needs to be done in the short term and the long term. So
Yeah.
that some of this will be, hopefully we can bring the finance committee in too as well, because there's some rather large project, like the town garage, is gonna be a major fix.
Yeah, consent project.
And I
Anyways.
do think overall it'd be good to get more clarity on, the library budget and the building maintenance. Yes, it's for that original building, but we also recently learned that the rugs at the town hall that get swapped out every month are coming out of the library building maintenance, which is for that building, but it's all like kind
Right,
of
yeah.
meshed together, and it can be hard to know,
Really, what is what,
you know,
right?
what's
Yeah.
going where. At one point, when the Historical Society moved downstairs, there was a conversation about the town supporting them through the fuel, but that fuel is still in the library budget.
Right.
So the library is still technically even paying for the heat in that building. So I think it would be useful, it would be helpful to sort of untangle some of that.
Yeah, just to get 2 separate budgets, basically,
Yes.
Yes.
figured out.
Budget for each building.
So now, is that
Yeah.
something that you want to work on, Corey?
On what, untangling?
Untangling?
Well,
She
we
can
did
probably,
this the treasurer.
say, Cory can maybe help me, but
Okay.
that's, much to my husband's chagrin, is my task.
But that certainly would be helpful if we could just
Yeah.
separate those buildings as individual buildings and.
Yeah, so I think Cory will definitely be able to help kind of advise me, especially when it comes to like the differences between the town hall items.
Right.
Because I do get to have eyes on, obviously, our budget's reconciliation. Sherilyn's
Yeah.
been sharing the,
Yeah, work with,
town hall
whatever you
so
need
that
from
we
her,
can-
she should be able to give you, or
Yeah.
even bills and
Yep.
past invoices, so you can try to figure out where,
Each one of those.
Yeah, we have a decent handle on most of it, but
But I think bigger picture, like,
Yeah.
should the History Center building still be part of the library budget?
right?
Be its own entity, yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, should we have the town attorney look into? I mean, it would basically be a paperwork thing, wouldn't it?
As far as the ownership of the building?
Ownership. I'm assuming they don't want anything for the building.
There's wording in the deed that needs to be looked into before anything more goes forward, because
Right.
something needs to be, it needs to go back to a certain, there's some special wording in the deed that needs to be looked at.
And it's referring to the Moretown Free Library, which
Yes.
actually technically
Doesn't
doesn't
exist.
exist. So it's
So
a little
that the library trustees actually own it.
So I think that, I think the trustees should talk, come to that Jesus moment is, we just don't want this thing, or we want to, we want to nurture this as a bit, whatever. And then figure,
We're ready.
right, you're ready. So let's, if you're that way, let's take a look at that deed and figure out
Yeah, how it
What-
all comes together.
how it does come together.
It's
and how
just
we can-
embracing the future to how we have that building and the history center and, stuff like that.
Right.
And working out how we.
And it's all, at the end of the day, it's all coming out of the same pail,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah,
trying
we can
to
just
have
separate.
lines so people know, so we can tell them, this is what you're
We
spending
want,
on.
actually,
Do we know if the building was like donated to the library in any
No,
I
they
think-
bought it in, I think a group bought it in 1923 for
Okay.
$300.
Okay.
We would probably know that.
I'm just wondering, things like that can complicate things. If it was a donation and it was delivered.
I mean, we
to-
could sell it for $1.
Well, that's what
I'm
That
saying,
makes
yeah,
it
okay.
easier.
Okay.
So is this something that I should reach?
No,
out
well,
as a
we will do
trustee?
that.
Okay,
No,
okay.
we'll take care of that.
I think we need to meet with the trustees and figure out the expenses and what is specifically for that building, who was specifically for the town hall.
Yeah.
And maybe the town turn the building back over to the town. I don't know. Right now, it's kind of complicated because we had a smoke detector that went off, and we had to go through the library trustees, they had to go through the town, and it was just, a very
Modules,
Yeah.
tangled.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the mission is, to kind of
Yeah,
untangle that web a little bit, kind of figure it out. Keep moving on as far as what's working well. I mean, it sounds like the History Center is really doing good things there.
And there's not, again, there's not really a good alternative use for that building. You really can't make it into a home, so someone might tear it down and use that extra space.
Yeah, but
No,
Or,
that'd
I
be a
mean,
shame.
there's just, this
Yeah,
is.
and I don't think we
better
want that
uses
as a
for it.
town,
No,
so.
exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
Just
And it's not
carry it
costing a
on.
ton of money
Yeah.
either. I mean, I think the value is there, for what we're getting out of it.
Yeah, where do you take a visit there? You'll all be very, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valuable resource for the town.
Yeah.
See why it came in the umbrella of the select board and,
All right.
I'll be in
Great.
touch.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yep,
Send us a
starting next Tuesday.
spreadsheet of the different costs. Put the budget for next year.
Is that a bird?
I thought that was someone's phone or something else.
At first I was kind of going, what was that?
Shut my phone
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, you guys want to stay for the rest of the night?
No, it's so exciting.
No, I think that's because Chris is interested in getting on the select board. That's why he's here.
night, I wasn't gonna go there.
Oh,
What better way to?
I thought you wanted to just.
Just carpool.
You're gonna just
Oh, that's
carpool.
a tough walk home.
No hockey
too.
on tonight, or that's a date night, right?
I'll be free to leave.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
And ladies, you gotta thank the ladies too.
So, are we gonna wait for another estimate, or are we gonna,
No, we'll wait for estimates to come in. They know
Okay.
that the kind of Don's gonna work with them
Oh,
and
yeah,
they'll figure it
it's-
out.
It's a heater, so. it's
Yeah.
not like it's a crazy-
They don't need it.
Yeah, I
I
get
will-
it.
Well, maybe we do, based on the weather we've had last week, we could. So Don, you had some stuff you were sharing with us?
Well, I think, just that I haven't given up on the sled.
The
Still
sled.
trying, yeah, the old post office sled, the guy who used to deliver the mail, and that sled I told you all about a couple of months ago.
I didn't hear that story.
Yeah, you did. Yes.
Did anyone hear the story about the sled?
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna say I did hear it.
I know I talk about a lot of stuff.
All right, sometime, tell me the story about the sled.
Don is getting
I won't tell you. but
I wanna-
It's not a sled, it's a sled that the
Yeah,
mail
yeah.
was delivered in.
A sleigh, maybe?
Well, I don't know, SLED, is that a sled?
That's
Is that how you say it? I don't know.
Well, was it pulled by a horse?
Well, pulled by a horse.
Get out your sled, a sleigh.
A sleigh, okay.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah.
the sled. Well, Suzanne Austin has it in her barn garage building, hanging there, and she'd like to, find a good place from the town that we can show it or display it or something.
Could we get it into that building?
This one? I've talked to them, I don't think it'll fit in there. You know, it's like 3 by 4 by 4. I mean, you wouldn't put the piece of wood that goes to the horse, you could just
Goes to
have
the
that.
shaft.
Right,
Yeah, the shaft.
Right, that's what we're
But yeah, it was used from the late 1800s till about 1938. I have some information at home about it.
That sounds really
The
cool.
guy who, the postman who wrote it, he lived down here in the Lower Village and.
Oh, that would be really nice to have.
Yeah, no, I've been, I'm trying to get the post office, and I'm hoping to be able to finally get a contact, because I guess the central offices are in Portland, Maine or something. You know, it's just on the list. But the vestibule of the post office would be perfect. It's big enough that I think you could put it in there.
Well, you should
Have a
speak
little
to,
plaque and you
speak to
walk
Bill Wilcox.
I know, it's on the list. I
That's
know.
who you have to speak
Well,
to.
I think he's still gotta do it with his tenant. The tenant's the US Post Office.
Right, yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, that could
That's the
take years,
sled
believe me.
story.
We
I would just stick it in there.
it took 2 years to get them to,
Well,
Always been there.
okay, moving the sidewalk.
Been there
So,
since the 1800s.
all right.
I'll show you some pictures.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Some pictures.
Yeah, that's neat.
The only last item that I have is that I saw in Front Porch Forum, Shane Grace, I guess he lives up on the Moretown Common Road.
Mm-hmm.
He posted that his partner, Alyssa, I think is her name, Eliza, does cleaning and is looking for cleaning jobs. And so when I saw that, I was, it's still, maybe it's something that we could have her, once a week or twice, whatever the schedule would be, to do the town garage. Sweep the office dust and do the bathroom. Would be kind of a nice thing. Anyways, I didn't call, I just thought I'd, bring it up. It's an idea. Maybe we could get a price.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Thought maybe interested in,
What?
if there's something that she'd be interested in.
Well, I don't know, yeah, it could, if it was
Certainly.
by, once a week or something. I don't know. I think it would be a good thing to do for our guys.
Well, why don't you check in with her and see what
Okay.
it would be.
I just know, Sasha, we worked on it a year ago or so, and we couldn't find anybody, but I just, maybe this is someone who would do it, It would be, I think, a good thing for the guys, Anyway.
Clean bathrooms,
okay.
nice.
That's all I got for today.
Is that it? How about you, Mike? What do you got?
I don't think I have anything pending for the ash thing, but the grant's closed for now, and I gotta talk to Mark about it, so it'll be a while.
Good stuff. Cal? Everything good over there in Berlin? Keeping the place going?
Looking for a new highway guy.
Oh, you lost the highway guy?
No, well, he's retiring
Oh.
in October.
All right. Well, I guess we want to keep all ours, so don't take any of
Yeah,
those.
don't take any of ours, please.
We get better benefits.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Less pay, better benefits, so we accept it, so.
Yeah.
Nothing
Robin?
For me, no, I'm good.
All right, so you guys, for me, we've talked about FEMA, so you've got that. The bank brought you up to date on that stuff. Sasha, is there anything else that I've been working on that people have been asking about? I don't think so. The only other, I did have a request from Howland next door, and he wanted some help from the town guys if they could help lift up his boiler to the second floor. This is at the raised house here. So I asked Martin what his thought was on that, and he said he'd be happy to help him if if we approved it. And so I don't really know. He just wants to see if the guys can put it in the bucket and lift it up to the second floor.
Oh, okay, all right.
And the loader, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, if he was just asking for labor, I was thinking, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Ask him if he wants to volunteer for more fest.
I was just gonna say that. We'll barter for some help.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah, that is a great idea, Mike.
That's a great
I was
idea.
just gonna say the same thing.
Speaking,
Great minds think alike,
Yeah,
right? Tom?
Really, honestly.
Yeah, we can probably get that. And he's right here.
speaking of volunteers,
Well,
he lives right there.
Shame him right into it, right?
It's worth a try.
No, I don't think it's shame here, probably not.
But yeah,
Yeah, we'll shame him right into it.
yeah, my only concern was if we had guys lugging a boiler up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it was nothing like that.
They just want him to lift it up and
And he said he's,
they're not liable.
right, and that's what I said too, I wasn't not liable, no one's, and, it would save him thousands, I don't know, something, all right, and, what else we got? Yeah.
Well, I think I read that in a meeting it was referred to where we'll all be here, was the resolution that guy sent from Rutland or something?
Right.
Yeah. About sending a thing to, what was it, I can't remember the exact word, but to send a message to.
Yeah.
It was essentially just to pass a resolution, like, I don't think it was to send it to the congressional.
Yeah, or maybe we can reread it, or I'll reread it.
Yeah, well, wait, and that's why I thought you would like to read that, so we can bring it up next time?
All right, yeah, so does everybody, Sasha, can you find that and resend it to us all, please? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be right after, right before our last meeting, so,
Yeah.
but, no, we thought we'd wait for you,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, yeah. Good.
All right, how about any old business? Does anyone have any other thing that they're working on and want to talk about? Anything new? All right, then we'll just sign off. We've got a couple things to sign off and get out of here. Thank you, Callie. So is there a motion to approve the minutes for 5/19?
I'll make a motion to approve the Selectboard minutes of May 19th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the minutes? Everyone good with them? All in favor, vote aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone. So I just signed off here. You can read them
Okay.
and approve them. You can be approved, but
I did read
you
them.
can or you don't. It doesn't matter. As long as there's at least 3 people approving them, that's all I care about.
Well, now I know, okay.
Because we had that discussion once, and then John brought out
You brought out the book.
he brought out the book on it, so I'm well aware of it. I just signed off. This is the support to the Vermont Agency of Transportation, looking for the grant, and it just says the select board, we're ADA compliant, and we would like, and that's why we're putting them in, and it's for safety there. And then we just have, here is payroll. And Callie, when you get through it, do you mind just looking at Martin's and the hours back there? I haven't done that. And I think, yeah, fairly light, folks. We're done. Good.
No, I know, I'm just, boss is back. See, Kelly, you know, they always give a firm grasp on that. They never bring in that, they find people out here, good find.
That's okay.
I get the old books here. These are I rate these things, I think, very nice.
My favorite pen is VLCT pen.
Really?
It's like a rose gold VLCT pen. Like, what do you mean when I can't even my favorite pen.
Lucky that, shouldn't say that out loud, people will take it on you.
I think I've ever seen this thing less than a week.
Fashion nurse today. So Sasha, did you ever find out what the whole Market Fest thing with the money?
I think it was just,
Yeah, I don't know, because I know we talked about it,
talked about it.
because we said we had sync from us to just put in this, it's weird. I don't, doesn't matter, but, I mean, it was, The whole time I'm wondering why they hadn't done anything, and they're looking at it like, hey, they didn't give us any money.
It's either from feathers, but it's a little ruffled. like-
Once and I came and signed something, and then another time, I feel like Sharon or Sasha asked me to, but then someone else stopped in, so sometimes, yeah. But I feel like when we were gone, there was nothing to, like, there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Just so you know, the guys are all working, we've got, they're starting what they call their construction season now. So we got projects on, actually Don's Road, there's one on Hathaway Road, there's one on the Class 4 Brownsville, and quite a few other stuff that they're working on. But those first three are the projects that we got grants for this week, this summer.
Sean's meeting with Ray this week about that culvert or not. They reached out to me last week, and it was gonna rain, so if it's gonna rain, it's gonna flood.
Okay.
So we canceled the meeting, so I don't know if they're meeting this week or not, but.
Okay. And so we had a question last time too. Remember, as far as the stream alteration, or we had, right. So those permits, that's for totally different,
Right.
Different.
different project. It was like
This
right.
is the mitigation project.
Yeah, if I had it in front of me, it was like Hog Hollow and something else. Yeah, because those things that are doing, that was all
That's all
done.
done. That's all
But
done.
it is,
Yeah.
it is for the mitigation
Yeah,
stuff.
I reread the minutes that Carol put out, and it made more sense to me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the whole mitigation thing, that's like a whole another.
And the reason that money's going away at the end of this year, and that
Right,
was
so we have
the
to get it
reason to
done
get,
quickly.
do it
Yeah.
a little quicker that way, so that was the answer to that for you guys.
Just to read this. I don't remember that being part of the discussion. I was like, wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Maybe she read Ray's email.
I'll just be glad to get that stuff off that section alone.
I bet, yeah, you've been dealing with that for a year.
Yeah.
So we're all good there, so I'd move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, vote aye. Thank you, everyone, I appreciate everyone's time tonight.